The instant I opened the envelope, I could tell my family had been preparing for this moment for weeks. The document felt unusually weighty as I unfolded it beneath the warm glow of an elegant restaurant in Chicago. Sitting across from me, my mother wore a composed smile that seemed carefully practiced rather than sincere. My father kept glancing at his luxury watch, avoiding my gaze, while my older sister, Chloe, acted absorbed in her phone. What she failed to notice was that I could easily spot the camera recording everything. "We believe this is the right decision for everyone," my mother said softly. A clean break. I looked down at the paper in front of me. It was an official letter stating that the Morgan family was formally severing all ties with me. At the bottom were 3 signatures. My father, my mother, my sister. They had truly signed it. Oddly enough, I wasn't surprised. Somewhere deep inside, I had been expecting this for years. My name is Hannah Morgan, and at 22 years old, I had spent most of my life trying to squeeze myself into a future that someone else had planned. My family was wealthy, highly respected, and deeply committed to tradition. For generations, the Morgans had built their reputation through successful careers in finance. My grandfather founded the company, my father grew it even further, and everyone simply assumed I would one day become part of it. But that was never the path I wanted. While my family thrived on boardrooms, financial reports, and market discussions, my passion was technology. I loved finding solutions to complex problems. During college, I changed my major from finance to data science. The look of disappointment on my father's face that day has never left me. Everything shifted after that. Family dinners became less frequent. Phone conversations grew shorter. Invitations gradually disappeared. Whenever I spoke about the projects I was working on, my parents showed little interest. My sister often called on their behalf, reminding me that a position at the family company was always available if I wanted it. My response never changed. "I'm building something of my own." To them, it sounded like defiance. To me, it felt like freedom. While I was in school, I worked part-time at a small coffee shop. The owner regularly dealt with delivery problems and inventory shortages. During quiet afternoons, I started developing software designed to forecast supply demands and optimize delivery schedules. In the beginning, it was nothing more than a college assignment. Then it became something much bigger. One of my professors recognized the potential of the idea and introduced me to a startup incubator. Before long, I teamed up with 2 talented friends, Ryan and Megan. Together, we turned that software into a company called Floater. The growth exceeded anything we had imagined. Within the first year, investors came on board. By the second year, we had secured major clients. By the time graduation arrived, our software was helping dozens of businesses reduce costs and operate more efficiently. My family knew nothing about it, not because I kept it a secret, but because they never bothered to ask. 3 days before graduation, everything changed once again. A large logistics corporation approached us with an offer to purchase Floater for $7.2 million. After multiple rounds of negotiation, we agreed to the deal. Every member of our team was offered a position with the acquiring company, and I was given a leadership role. The contracts were finalized on Tuesday. My family invited me to dinner on Wednesday. The timing felt unusual, but I accepted the invitation. The next evening, I arrived at the restaurant carrying a leather portfolio that held all of the acquisition paperwork. The moment I reached the table, it felt as though my family was putting on a show. My mother wore a smile meant for appearances. My sister adjusted the camera on her phone. My father barely acknowledged my presence. After a short toast, my mother slid the envelope across the table toward me. Then came the speech. She spoke about different life paths, family expectations, and difficult choices. In truth, she was explaining why they had decided to remove me from their lives. When she finished, a heavy silence settled over the table. I carefully folded the letter and slipped it into my jacket pocket. "Is that everything?" I asked. My father looked caught off guard. "You seem unusually calm." "I think your message is very clear," I replied. Then I placed my portfolio on the table. "Actually, I brought something for all of you as well." I pulled out several documents and spread them across the table. My father immediately recognized the financial paperwork. "What is this?" "The company I've spent the last 3 years building," I answered. "It was acquired this week." For the first time that evening, nobody said a word. My sister slowly lowered her phone. My father picked up the acquisition summary and started reading. The moment his eyes landed on the final figure, his expression changed entirely. $7.2 million. That's correct. Silence returned to the table. My mother stared at me, unable to believe what she was hearing. Why didn't you ever tell us? I looked directly at her. Because you stopped asking. Those 4 words struck harder than anything else I could have said. Almost instantly, their behavior changed. My father began praising my accomplishment. My mother spoke about family support. My sister suddenly showed interest in the company she had ignored for years. It was almost amusing. Only moments earlier, they had disowned me. Now, they wanted to be part of my life again. The agreement is already signed, I reminded them. My father forced a smile. Things can always be changed. I shook my head. Some things shouldn't be. I stood up and gathered my papers. My mother reached out for my hand. We're still your family. I gently stepped back. No family waits for the rest of the world to believe in you first. You made your choice tonight. Without saying another word, I walked out of the restaurant. Outside, the warm Chicago evening felt lighter than it had in years. A text message from Ryan appeared on my phone. Celebration starts in 30 minutes. Are you coming? I smiled and sent my reply immediately. Wouldn't miss it. As I stepped into a taxi, the disownment letter was still folded in my pocket, but it no longer felt heavy. Because it wasn't my loss. It was theirs. They believed they were bringing my story to an end.